What's good with y'all boys, man? We are finally here with 2K27 info. Okay. No, I said I was gonna drop the vid last week, but all they did was drop cover athletes. I wasn't gonna do that to y'all and make a whole video just talking about the cover athletes. We finally now have our first bits of information, and this is all the information we're gonna get until August 18th. That was one of the things they let it be known during the stream. So everything that you can possibly know, I'm going to talk about in this video. We'll cover over some of the smaller stuff quickly and then talk about some of the stuff that's been a little more controversial towards the end. And then after that, August 18th, I'll be here to cover everything else that they do decide to drop. I'm going to have the pre-order so that I can play the game early, and I'll drop all that info when the game first release, all that. So any of that you're interested in, hit the subscribe and post notification button so you'll be notified when all that drops, okay? To get into what they decided to let us in on for now. For my team, we got cross-platform auctions and faster auctions, which the faster auctions, they basically just say there won't be a verification process on winning or anything like that. So just when you buy a card, you immediately get it. Cross-platform auctions, pretty self-explanatory. They added Nintendo Switch in there with Xbox and PS5, so that'll be pretty cool for the MyTeam guys. For the MyLeague guys, they set up a thing. The card was called Back to Basics. It's basically just them saying that they improved some core franchise experiences and brought some old things back that I guess they had back in their earlier versions of the mode that they've returned to, along with allowing you to go for a second apron. So that's supposed to be pretty cool. I've seen those guys on that end being pretty excited. Okay, now for the things that everybody else is waiting on: the city, the builder, and then some of the gameplay information that they have dropped, while also teasing there will be a lot more later, obviously. First, we'll talk about the city. They have brought back not the same version, but the same theme of having everything really close together and everything like that, which we'll talk about a little bit after I explain the other city news. They said there's going to be a new neon kind of nighttime theme to it, with all of the places having their own different unique looks to them, between the Rec, Street Kings, Theater, Park, all of that, right? And with Street Kings, as well as in the My Career, they are bringing Rucker Park, a real life version of a real life court that is in, I believe it was in New York. If I'm getting that wrong, my fault. But they're going to be bringing that, putting it in the game. They said it's only going to be in the My Career and available in Street Kings. I think in the future they'll probably do other courts and allow that to be expanded out. But with them saying that the city is going to do this whole everything close and accessible kind of thing, I'm not against this, right? I do, however, feel like we should probably be getting some different rewards other than vehicles and stuff if we're going to stick with a theme of keeping everything fairly close together. This last year, while it was the year that I got the most vehicles I've ever had when playing 2K, I never really used any of them. One, they just straight up are real clunky with how they work. And then on top of that, like I said, especially when you're not having to go far distances, it doesn't really make sense to have to pull them out anyway. So I'm not against, them keeping everything close. I would like an open world and things like that where we can kind of explore and stuff. But if everybody wants stuff close, that's fine. I just think we should definitely be getting some different rewards. Not so focused on travel, if that's going to be the case, right? But like I said, I don't necessarily mind it, and I'm sure they're going to make it look pretty cool regardless, with how they decide to throw everything together. So this should be something that's interesting to see later. And if this is just supposed to be a sneak peek, we have to believe there might be a lot more into it that could be coming out when we talk about it on the 18th. Okay. Now for the My Career, or not My Career, but MyPLAYER Builder specific changes, they talked about cap breakers and badges. The wrap on cap breakers was basically just that they're coming back, and you will now be able to see what the cap breaker setup will be on your build before you have to take them into the city and everything. So you don't have to go take them into the city, look at the whole board, decide that it's not how you want it, go back and redo it. Now you can just do that straight from the builder. He did specify this is only after you unlock them, so it does mean that first build is still not going to have that ability, and you will still have to kind of figure things out on that one. But that's the first build curse. That's how it always is in 2K. And then by that next one, you should, if you play your cards right, be able to check out your cap breakers and stuff before you make the build. So that should help people out a lot with saving VC and making the proper builds without making some mistakes this year, which I'll be able to help y'all out with regardless once the game drops on the 28th for early access. I'm gonna have y'all right, okay? But outside of the cap breakers, for the badges, they specified that there will be 53 badges, I want to say, this year, from the total of 40 that we already had before. So an extra 13, or no, it's supposed to be an extra 19, and they're removing 6 that were already in the game, which usually when they remove some and there's a hefty amount that they add, they're breaking some badges down into little specific categories to help out, which I think is pretty helpful. It usually helps people with specification when trying to be a little more diverse with how they're making their build or exactly the things they want to be able to do. A few of the hints they dropped for some of them, or not even hints, they just straight up dropped what 3 of them will be able to do. 1 increases off ball movement speed on offense and defense, 1 increases on ball movement speed, and 1 helps you with contests whenever you have your hands up and guarding somebody. So they sound like they cooked with those 3. You don't got to use motion styles anymore for your on ball and off ball speed outside of your regular speed attribute. So that should be something that's really helpful for everybody. And then, yeah, I think depending on what the rest of them are, they got a lot of extra ones. I'm pretty sure we're going to have some pretty nice ones that are pretty helpful. Now, outside of the builder information, the most controversial part that people have been talking about so far have been the changes to the AI shot contest and the dunk meter. Okay, for the AI shot contest, basically they just made it to where AIs are not going to be bots when you're playing them on defense. When your teammates quit, you're not going to have someone just standing there letting people shoot on them now. They will react more, and in the proper situation, they will play the proper type of defense. So they will go for those contests. If somebody just tries to stand still shoot, says they will not be affected by triple threat moves. And I think the concerns with this are just how far is this going to go? Because we've all had the years where we've seen what happens when they tune the defense up really heavy on the computers, and it gets nasty. Not that it's not something to overcome. I honestly feel like those are the years where people usually tend to be a little bit better, because if you make my career hard off rip, people have no choice but to kind of adapt and get right. So I don't know if it's going to be one of those situations, if they're going to isolate it specifically to make sure it's something that only you deal with when teammates quit in like the rec or so. But if this is how AI is going to be playing like across the board in my career, in events and all that different stuff in Street Kings, it might be an interesting year trying to score on the computer. But it should be fun though. I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal as everybody is saying, as much as it'll help with what that problem was doing, because I don't think anybody liked having to deal with that. Lastly, but absolutely not least, we got the dunk meter change, okay? And there are 2 important things to this. One part that I think people are not really interpreting the right way, okay? So, first off, they are taking away the ability to dunk with square. All dunking will have to be done with the dunk meter now, which is the part that a lot of people are talking about. I don't think that that's going to be as much of a problem as it is. In my personal opinion, I feel like it allows them to be very unique. If you dedicate certain things to certain things, you can there from then branch off how many more things each one of those can do now that they're separated. So I feel like that's going to be something good for layups. I feel like we're going to have more control and variation over our layups, more than likely, with them having a dedicated, you go up with square. And then same thing with the dunks. I feel like we're probably going to see some good choice and variation with it now being specifically dedicated to the dunk meter. So I think that actually should be kind of cool. With the other part, them making it more dynamic, basically they just said that now from the time you go up, from the time that you get to the goal, it's going to change the meter. Some people think that this is already how it is, and that's somewhat true, but I'm pretty sure the fix that they're talking about is that if you would go up right now in 2K26, and let's say you went up with a 360, so somebody jumped immediately when you jumped, and at first they were in good position, so your meter shrinks, but because of the type of dunk you did and how they decided to jump going straight up, by the time you get about halfway through that 360, this is now really an open dunk. They're no longer in your way. The way it is in 2K26, once they get your meter to shrink, it's not going back up. So you're usually going to miss that dunk if you didn't already time it for the perfection window that you needed to consider their early contest. Whereas now, if they jump out of position or something like that, or you go up with a dunk that puts you in the right situation, you will be able to get that bigger green window back once it registers that you are now open again, based on how you and the defender both decided to go up, which already in itself allows you to then be more creative with your options when you're going up for dunks, because you're more incentivized to go up for specific types or do specific ones, to potentially allow you to maybe not be open when you first go up, but you'll be open by the end of the dunk because of the maneuver you decided to do. So I'm excited to see it. I think it's going to bring something creative to finishing if pulled off right. We got to see how it goes once they talk about it more on the 18th. But I'm excited just about everything we got to hear. I think everybody, for whatever side of the game you like to play and enjoy, I think everybody got a little nugget to give them something to look forward to. So outside of that, I appreciate you if you're listening. Like I said, any more 2K information you are looking to hear, I will be dropping it. We on that. So let me know how you feel about everything in the comments. If you think they messed up or if they're cooking with what they've dropped so far, anything that you might be looking forward to seeing yourself. And outside of that, I appreciate y'all watching. I will catch y'all on the next one.